Welcome to the Danny Clinkscale Reasonably Irreverent podcast. Insightful and witty commentary, probing interviews, and detours from the beaten path.
Every once in a while, we have to bring out the big dog.
Yeah.
Oh, God help us. It's time for Danny Unleashed. Sponsored by Easton Roofing, where integrity matters. Go to eastonroofing.com for more.
That's right. Easton Roofing, proud sponsor of Danny Unleashed, Danny Clinkscale from DannyClinkscale.com, where you can read his excellent work. You can hear it. Also hear him Saturday morning with College Game Day here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. He's proudly brought to you by Joe Spiker and his great team at Easton Roofing. Easton Roofing handles residential and commercial projects. Listen, no matter how big the project is, they got a couple of monster buildings they're working on down around the Plaza area right now. Over 1,000 jobs done. One of the fastest growing companies in Kansas City, but also, like I said, they're not small by any stretch of the imagination. They're just growing and growing and growing. No matter how big your job is, Easton Roofing has the manpower to tackle that job. All the roofing, all the guttering, everything you need to have done, Easton Roofing can do it, and do it with their own employees. No payments ever collected until you're 100% satisfied. Credit cards accepted as well. Financing, that's available as well. So make sure if you've got a problem, you call Easton Roofing. They're happy to do repairs. A lot of companies won't tell you that, hey, you know what, we can actually, probably do a little repair and, you can be 2, 3, 4 more years with this roof. That's not how it works with a lot of other people. That's how it works with Easton Roofing. Client education is the term I like to use. They will tell you all the options that are there and make sure that you're getting the best one, the most efficient one, the most economical one for whatever it is you need done. All over the metro, including Lawrence and Topeka. Call 913-257-5426. Let Easton Roofing get you back to life. Let them get you back to business faster. Easton Roofing, integrity matters. Danny, how are you, my friend?
Doing just fine. Actually, I'm going to take my headphones off for a second and take my mask off.
It's
I didn't remember
looped around his ears and around his
it was
chin.
on. So.
There you go.
Well, that's a good thing. It means you wear it quite a bit.
Yeah, I do wear it quite a bit. That is
comfortable
for sure. Comfortable in it.
Especially,
I've just gotten into the habit of when I'm at one place and I walk out to my car, and I'm going to go somewhere else. No matter when it is in the day, I just leave it on so I don't forget. But
yeah, that'll work.
Yeah, exactly.
We make sure that we've got one for everyone in the family in each car. So that if we got to jet out, I didn't grab my mask. All right, here you go. We're all set.
I think I have about 27 masks in my car.
Yeah, something you never thought you would need. Quantities of surgical masks.
Right, and now most places will have a mask if you forget, so you end up with more than you really need because you walk in, you go, oops, and then there's a big pile of them sitting over there, so...
There's nothing I like more than a big pile of used masks. Just slap one on my face.
Not used. Very nice.
Me, that's
a nice fresh mask.
Look at this one. Don't worry about the stains, honey. Put it right on.
I was thinking about this the other day, and I don't know why this didn't come to me before, and I don't know why it's a point that people haven't made a little bit more. If anybody is sort of dubious about the restrictions we go through to try to avoid the spread of the virus, are they not sports fans? Do they not pay attention to the fact that these leagues have been under serious restrictions and done things in a real protocol type of fashion, insisted on mask wearing, fined the coaches if they didn't, and the incidence of cases is so much lower than the general population?
Yes. Fact. True.
I'm just surprised.
All of the above.
Yes, I'm just surprised because a lot of first of all, I think that point should have been made, just plainly stated a few times by people. So because a lot of people who probably are not fans of some of the things that they have to go through, they're sports fans. They should realize they're getting their football mostly. They got their basketball almost entirely without interruption. And
you always drag me into these discussions, Danny. I make a point, like just because I give up, right? And so I don't want to irritate those that think differently, although I'm 100% in agreement with you, Danny, 100%. I am. I'll just say this. You know, remember, like, I don't. Maybe people still do it. I remember when I was younger, somebody'd say, you know, if you could press a button, if for $1 million you could press a button and someone somewhere around the world that you'd never know who they are, they would die, would you press the button for $1 million? Right? And what does everybody say?
Of course they say no.
No, I wouldn't do it. No, you wouldn't do it because the actual answer is you'd do it for a sandwich. Okay? That's the real answer is you do it so that you can go to a party tonight. You do it for it doesn't even take $1 million because you're potentially doing that. That's it. I'm done. Let's move on.
Right. I just thought that sports was an excellent tie-in for that, and I don't want to go down that rabbit hole too. But I just think that people, if they're paying attention to sports, you think that would be somewhat of a tutorial. But it doesn't really seem to be working that way in many cases. Of course, that being said...
Do you get my point?
Oh, absolutely.
Like the potential to be asymptomatic and infect somebody who may have a health condition that they're not aware of that would cause them ultimately to go to the hospital, be on a ventilator, and then die. That's out there, and yet people don't care. So, like, hell yes, all those people would absolutely press a button and kill someone for $1 million. They absolutely would because they've gone partway down that road already. That's my point. Think of it that way. See if you have a different view. You won't, and we're moving on. Let's go.
All right, let's go.
Of course, the bottom line,
we must get on to the red-hot local football weekend.
Yeah.
I've actually enjoyed the week because it's allowed us to do different things. There are
Right.
times I feel like we're such a slave to whatever today's Chiefs news is that we can't go get – like I enjoyed exploring Doug Peterson's inability to just say – I made the right decision then. I made it that on that day, and I'd make it today and every day from here on. We took the better quarterback. Like, what is he worried? He's going to piss off Nick Foles?
Right, or Brett Favre or whatever.
Yeah, like I cannot believe, like, your allegiance is to your quarterback. So you back him up. You say we think he's the best quarterback in the league. The problems lie around him. And you pin it on injuries. Like, we got good players, right? But a lot of them are hurt. And frankly, and then you throw you and your coaching staff right under the bus and say, we've had crap game plans. We haven't gotten in a rhythm. When everybody else is zigged, we've zigged behind them, and we're not doing a good enough job. You bury yourself. That's why I'm so tired of we got to coach better. We didn't coach well enough. It starts with me. Get out. I don't want to hear that because you know what it is? It's crap. How can I believe you? How can I believe any coach when they say that when Doug Peterson can't bring himself to unequivocally back his quarterback that they're financially invested in and can't get away from for years, whether he wanted to or not, and he can't bring himself to back him and throw himself under the bus. He's got to leave a vagary there that maybe I wasn't in on that. Maybe I didn't get the decision I wanted. Like, I think he said enough if it weren't a coach-quarterback Q&A. Right, a coach about his quarterback Q&A. But when it's about your quarterback, you have to be unequivocal, right? Unless you're thinking about making a change. And then you're saying, okay, I'm going to go to the media, and I'm going to motivate through the media. But, I enjoy getting a chance to talk about those, and instead of just like, Steve Spagnuolo says, our corners have been really good,
Right. And the thing is, Peterson really has no plan B now. It's not like Nick Foles is still around. I mean, he's on another team.
I don't even know who is their backup quarterback.
I don't know either. So
check that out. We're all going, who is that?
But I mean, actually, it's not somebody that's knocking on the door. He's 2 doors down.
And then dovetail it with what we talked about with Bill Belichick. That Belichick, hey, your drafts haven't been so good for the last 3 years. I think my wins and losses over the last 20 speak for themselves. Is basically what he said.
It's Jalen Hurts, by the way.
Oh, that's right. It is Jalen Hurts.
Easy
controversial pick. Yeah. Maybe that's why they're asking you about Foles. You took a quarterback in the second round, for God's sake.
Yeah, that makes that that's create a little more intrigue there.
It does. But you still
because part of his whole ring around the rosy there was the fact that he's the guy we drafted. Well, you drafted another guy.
Yeah, that's true.
And you didn't just draft him in the 7th round. It was, a second-round pick as a starter that you could have had.
Yeah, absolutely. You could have had Willie Gay Jr., you could have had, a lot of talented guys. But I also think that the Belichick, again, with his got to coach better. We didn't coach better. We didn't play well enough. Got to do better. After the game, that's all crap. Or you would sit there and go, no, we haven't drafted well enough. We've got a losing record. Clearly, we haven't drafted well enough.
Sure,
why are we going to be sensitive about that? You're free to admit you didn't coach well enough, which means that you don't really believe that. If on another one that the evidence is overwhelming over the last 3 years, the Patriots haven't drafted well enough, and that's a big part of why. Yeah, Tom Brady leaving, yes. Some big opt-outs, yes. Cap management, yes. Like they poured it all in, and he said it. He said it last week, and that's the other thing that should be factored in. Is last week he said, look, we went all in, and we went to 4 Super Bowls and won 3 of them. Right, or they go to 5 and win 3 of them, Curtis? Went to 4. Went to 4 and won 3 of them from 14 on. Right? And so we were all in, and now we're paying the price for the cap. And Brady wanted to move on. So there was no renegotiating and playing and pushing that money forward like we've always done. We had to finally bite the bullet on the contract we signed with him, and that's where we are. Okay. I mean, didn't say that. Which he did. He just called it the cap. He didn't get specific about the Brady part of the equation. But then you turn around, and he's had plenty of draft picks. And they don't hit very often.
Right, yeah. They always have a lot of picks, and they just haven't used them wisely enough. I mean, they've got obviously enough good players to go to the Super Bowl, but they've done other player acquisition too, and they've been aggressive in that area. So,
but not now.
But that's
not a Super Bowl-looking team that's just a quarterback away.
No, it's not. But their opt-outs were really significant players.
There were 4 of them that were, absolutely, and that's a lot.
I mean,
but I would say that the Chiefs lost 2 starting offensive linemen and a starting running back. But you know what? They drafted better. They had another running back ready to go.
Right. No question.
And they had better offensive line answers, too. They circled away. Pinned up against the cap, they got Kelechi Osemele. And I don't mind the Patriots. To me, the mistake that I think they made, Cam Newton's not going to cost him anything because he's not going to hit any of these incentives, so he's going to end up costing him $1.5 million or something. So that was fine. But, if you really thought, man, with what we've lost and how hamstrung we are on the cap, wouldn't you have just, left the gun in the holster and said, let's just take our lumps this year. Let's improve our draft position. Let's play all our young players. Let's throw Stidham to the Wolves. Let's find out immediately what we've got. We've got a season that we're not going anywhere. And when you don't do that, then you looked in the mirror and said, no, we can still win. Because you can't tell me you went and signed Cam Newton to win your 7th and 8th games. Right?
No, I think they thought. I think the expectation going in realistically for them in their own minds was that they could still win the division.
Yep.
I don't have much doubt about that. By the way, I think the coach is saying I didn't coach well enough is sort of the equivalent of when players now tap themselves on the chest for the my bad. No spit. We know that you dropping the pass right there was your fault. Who the hell else's fault could it have been? It's like they think it's a get-out-of-jail-free card. Hey, you ran out of bounds at the 1-foot line when you could have scored the winning touchdown. My bad. Shut up. Shut up. Just stupid. I mean, it's gotten to be like an epidemic. Like, oh, I'm going to pound myself on my chest of my uniform, and that means that I didn't do it.
So you're talking about Mahomes when he missed Tyreek Hill in the first quarter.
Anyone who does it. My bad. Yeah, we know.
We saw it. We were there, too.
We saw it, and you tapping yourself on the chest and saying, my bad, it does nothing to take back what you just did. Oh, I shot you by accident. My bad.
My bad.
Sorry, you're dead now. But
that one's on me.
But I slapped myself on the chest, so I'm good.
Who was the guy in the Bush administration that shot somebody in the ass when they were out hunting?
Dick Cheney.
Yeah.
Dick Cheney.
His friend
My bad. That one's on me.
Exactly. Sorry.
Oh. I was going to take credit for it for getting my ass in the way of your shotgun shell.
Sorry that our morning turkey hunt included wild turkey, so I shot you in the ass.
My bad.
Yeah, my bad.
If Oswald had just said my bad.
Okay. Well, he admitted it. He said my bad.
Oh, sorry. My bad.
My bad. That's great. That's great. I love it. I will say this, though. With the quarterback receiver, there is always did he run the right route? You know, part of the equation. And so there is a little bit of like, okay, who was at fault there? And hey, I'm going to publicly say me, bad throw. You know, I think there's some of that. We saw early, it was against the Chargers was the first time I saw Patrick Mahomes, and I thought we saw it again against the Raiders. He looked really frustrated on the sidelines, right? Like he wasn't sure where to go or what to do because I think he was pissed with all the pressure he was under.
Yeah, you see the competitiveness of him. You know, he does a good job of harnessing it, but you can sort of read him. I mean, it's just like he seems and is a genuinely, for his station in sporting life, humble person, but then he does the finger counting, you know, so it's a kind of a funny juxtaposition. I mean, that's about as flamboyant a thing as you can do, you know, really. But because he's built up this equity of being what he is, a very nice guy and respectful of others, he can do one of those type of sort of showboaty things and people don't take it the wrong way.
Don't you think there's been two times? One, when he went up against a quarterback, the only quarterback taken ahead of him in his draft class, and another when he went up against the only, or I guess one of two quarterbacks. Maybe we'll see him count to 4 if he beats the Seahawks in the Super Bowl, right? Because didn't it go Lamar Jackson 1, Russell Wilson 2, Aaron Donald 3, Patrick Mahomes 4 in the Players' Choice Awards, played Top 100, the NFL Network. So if he beats Russell Wilson in the Super Bowl, or the Rams, which I don't think you're going to get there, we'll probably see 1, 2, 3, 4 get counted out again. It is. I mean, but don't you like that in the sense that, okay?
Yes, I do.
In front of the camera and you know, speaking, and even when asked about those things, you know, he nails it with the right answer. But in the heat of the moment and competing, he has 100% confidence that he is the man and the best in the business. I mean, that you like that, right?
Right, and you don't do that. Also, it's premeditated. I mean, you don't do all of a sudden go, hey, I think I'm going to count to 10 here. I mean, you had to think about it before.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But that, to me, is the Jordan part of him.
Sure. I mean, you have to be ultra competitive to be that good. You don't have to be, but he's proof positive that you don't have to act like Michael Jordan either.
Yeah, that's his version of I took it personally.
Right.
Yeah. I mean,
but you can still be a good teammate that everybody likes and have that competitive fire and that desire to raise up other people and hold them accountable, but not by being an a-hole.
Do you believe that Patrick Mahomes is the MVP?
The last 2 weeks have certainly – before the last 2 weeks, I think that Russell Wilson deserved the conversation. But he's had a couple of, a 3-interception game and then a 4-turnover game. So, and at the same time, Mahomes threw 9 touchdown passes. I think it's a stretch run fight now. I think Russ is going to have to outplay him the rest of the way. And that doesn't mean that Mahomes won't be good. It means they're in different situations. Wilson has to do more with his team. But he can't go out racking up a couple 3 turnovers per game, even if he gets to 50 touchdowns and rightly have Mahomes not win the award.
CBS Sports polled a bunch of their folks: Rich Gannon, London Fletcher, Tony Romo, Boomer Esiason, Kyle Long, Charles Davis, Jay Feely, Adam Archuleta, Tracy Wolfson, Jonathan Jones, Amy Trask, Jason Lockenfora, Michael Grady, A.J. Ross, Cherie Burris, Evan Washburn, James Lofton, Melanie Collins, Trent Green, Ian Eagle, Phil Simms, Bill Cowher, Nate Burleson. Okay, who's the MVP here at the midway point? What do you think the scorecard ended up being? I'm
still going to say that they probably picked Wilson.
Russell Wilson got 7 of the 23 votes.
Oh, okay. Well, I think right now that's right. I think Mahomes is now in the lead.
Who else was involved?
I'll be sarcastic and say Brady got the other 16.
Brady got none.
Oh, good. Well, that's nice.
Well, and his last couple of weeks have done that. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, the last 2 weeks have been if this was a horse race. I mean,
so you think it's a 2-horse race? So Patrick Mahomes got 16, but you don't think Aaron Rodgers is in this discussion?
No, I don't think he's in the. I'm not saying that you can't make an argument for him, but I don't think right now he's in the discussion.
Really?
Yeah, I don't.
24 touchdowns, 2 interceptions.
He's playing great. I'm just saying I don't hear his name uttered very often, but when people are discussing the MVP.
I heard it a lot on the PFF forecast. In fact, that's the guy they said is it right now.
Right, but they don't vote.
That's true. Maybe they do. I don't know.
There's a lot of things that they do that prove they know a lot about football, but they throw the ball on every down too. So, I mean, sometimes you just don't have to. You're not playing. They're playing Stratomatic football. In their minds, there's not people involved. There's not other kind of strategies, momentum, physicality, etc. So anyway.
But 16 out of 23 say Patrick Mahomes right now. So, I mean, I think that makes him the front runner. And now Russell Wilson's got to take it away from him.
Yes, but I think there's enough affection for Russell that if it's close, he's going to get it. So, but what Mahomes has done the last couple weeks has made it that it's not really that close right now.
You have to take it into consideration with what he's done. Yeah.
Now,
right,
I do think that, and this isn't just a Mahomes thing. There's so many things that factor into a lot of these record-keeping things, but I think they've got to put in a thing that says the ball has to go beyond the line of scrimmage to be a touchdown pass, don't they?
No.
That the shovel is not a touchdown pass.
Sure it is.
It's not. It's a handoff.
It's not.
It's a pitch.
It's not.
I'm not talking about like the one to Kelsey, okay?
It's not. Nope. Touchdown pass.
Yeah, I know.
Forward pass.
It's not.
Forward pass. Listen, if Brady were the guy attacking records, I'm all for it, right? And I was still watching Alex Smith play, I'm all for that theory. My guy's got a chance to rewrite the record book, and we're not dinging him.
Well, I figured that's
we're not dinging him for the shovel pass.
I figure they're where you are going, but it is significant. I mean, he's got what? He's got to have 5 of those at least this year, doesn't he? Maybe more.
No.
Yeah,
no.
I think so.
Maybe 1.
No,
Maybe.
No.
He's averaging 67 yards on each touchdown pass.
I know, but some of them are, nice runs by
that's
Tyreek Hill. It can be a.
How do you say I know to 67 yards on each touchdown pass?
I went, that's
I know it's significant.
He's averaging 105 yards on every pass he throws.
It's not. I mean, you might be. We could probably look it up. We could.
I know
scroll through.
I know they're lengthy,
I'll bet it's like 12 yards. Because I think that's what Curtis and I talked about this before, like the Aaron Rodgers versus Alex Smith comparisons we would do, where Rodgers would blow him away, is Rodgers would throw those 4-yard touchdowns, 7-yard touchdowns, and Smith couldn't get it. And it's because the windows are tighter. Now, I understand your point on the shovel pass and the underhand thing to Kelsey and all that kind of stuff. Yes, does it look like there should be kind of an extra category for it because that's become more and more a part of the game? It does, but, I mean, so what? Nobody else could think of it.
Right.
So.
It's not a big issue to me. It's just that, it is really not a touchdown pass if the guy's a foot away from you. I mean, it's not.
I hear what you're saying, and it's 3 or 4 or 5 feet. But my point being,
his average this year is 15.3. But I mean, I think when you've got 54, 49, 41, 36, 30, 28, 26. You got enough of those, then you can.
Yeah, but even
some of those might be shovel passes.
Yeah, even the little shovel can be a 30-yard touchdown. I mean,
but when you're on pace for what's he on pace for now? 45, I think.
Oh, it's ridiculous what he's on pace for. I'm not trying to ding him here. I just see in general it's a flaw of scorekeeping, as it were.
And I think you give him a little bit of latitude when you see that. I think was it Seth Kaiser we had on a couple weeks ago that talked about the stats on him on 3rd and 15, on third down.
Oh,
he's
stupid.
He's unheard of. He's battling against himself, not even history on those things, because he throws the ball across the line of scrimmage so often, and most people don't. He has enough of those plays, and I'm allowed to. You kind of give him the allowance when he does the shovel pass because he probably made 2, 3, third down amazing throws to get to that point.
On pace for 44.4 touchdowns. If he were, if he'd had 22, 25, if it were Alex Smith and he got his 30th touchdown to break, or 31st touchdown to break Len Dawson's franchise record, and he had 7 of those, I'd be like sticking up for Lenny, okay?
Right.
I'd be like, hey, Alex is really benefiting from this kind of thing. But when you've hung 50 and you're barreling for 44, there's no asterisk necessary. There's enough other TDs to
no
say.
question. I just think this is in general. I don't really care about this Mahomes specific thing. If he gets he's going to end up with almost every record, if not every record, by the time he's done. And it won't matter if he threw 50 of those during his career. I mean, he's still going to have enough other ones.
We'll take a break. More with Danny Clinkscale. We'll come back. We'll talk about what the expectation is for the second half of the season. He is brought to you by our good friends at Easton Roofing. Joe Spiker and his team have got you covered the way they covered me and Danny. They've done repairs on both our roofs. In fact, probably going to be taking a look at my mom's roof very soon. She's talking about needing to get a free estimate, free inspection. You can get that right now. Cold weather, that means ice up on your roof. That can be one of the biggest problems you've got. If you've got a small roof problem, it can become a big roof problem. Catch it before it does. Get a free inspection and, if necessary, a free estimate on any repairs. Or if it is a new roof, they'll give you that as well. Call Easton Roofing today, 913-257-5426. See them online at eastonroofing.com.
More of Danny's Reasonably Irreverent podcast after this.
We're here with Joe Spiker, the CEO and president of Easton Roofing. And, Joe, you had a great year in 2019, a record year. 2020 comes, things are moving smoothly along, and then the coronavirus comes. But your company seemed to be very ready, very proactive, and very ready to serve your customers well.
Yeah, we adopted social distancing very early before the cities even put out the notices. And we started working from home. We are largely cloud-based as a company, so that transition was easy. Our technicians are wearing masks and gloves, and salespeople are not meeting with homeowners. We're doing everything digitally and doing everything we can to do our part to get over this as quickly as possible.
So for any needs that people have right now, what's the best way to get in touch with you?
Well, you can always call us, 913-257-5426. But the best way is to go to eastonroofing.com, put your information in, and we'll give you a call.
Easton Roofing. Integrity matters.
Of all the players who suited up for Super Bowl I, who's the only one who did not play in the game?
I'm going to say Tom Flores.
Nope.
No, Tom Flores played?
He took a snap, I think, at some point. They list him on the official game book as having played.
Well, they were way behind, so yeah, he may well have gone in the game as that thank you.
Which Super Bowl are you talking about?
Super Bowl I.
Yeah,
Wasn't he a backup on that team?
Maybe he wasn't.
Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he was on 4, but not on 1.
Yeah, I don't think he was there. He wasn't there on 1.
I could tell that you're
They're showing Dawson
God.
and Beathard. Now, there's only one player listed as having not played in the game on the official game
Jack
book.
Rudney. No, he was on Super Bowl 4. Was hurt on Super Bowl 4, wasn't he?
In the news today.
In the news today. Hang on.
He
Give me
died?
1 second here.
He did.
Oh,
Give me 1 second.
bummer.
Here. Bryson DeChambeau.
Yes, amazingly.
Trending.
Hall of Famer.
Kim Ing.
Hall of Famer.
Hall of Famer
that
didn't
died
play?
today. So he must have been a Packer because I can't think of a Chief that
Yep.
died today, right?
Yep.
Oh, I didn't see who died today, so
Well, Forrest Gregg already died.
he'd already died.
Oh, the offensive lineman that is
Nope.
at the Super Bowl.
Nope.
Jerry Kramer.
No, he died a little while ago, I think.
Did he? Well, he's I don't know. They have him at the Super Bowl every year, and he's looked like he was about to.
I know. That's a good guess on that regard.
Davis?
Nope.
I'm trying to think of the Hall of Famers.
Well, we're to the point now where we're naming every
Jim-
Packer.
Jim
This
Taylor.
segment might be dying.
Screw you.
Herb Adderley?
Nope, he died a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, he did.
Notre Dame.
Paul Hornung.
Paul Hornung.
You
Who
crushed
passed
that,
away today
Petro.
at 84.
Paul
I
Horn-
crushed it.
Paul
Paul
Hornung
Horning
didn't-
was still alive.
Curtis, do me a favor. Can you challenge me at some point?
Sure.
You know, I read that.
These gimmies are just starting to get old.
Yeah.
I read
exactly.
that thing in the newspaper every day that has people's birthdays,
Yeah, because you're old.
and I usually do it to most of the time.
See if it's one of your friends.
No, just to see. Sometimes I'm like, oh, good, that dude's still alive. I mean, it's really kind of a smile much of the time because I'm like, I thought he was dead.
Wait a minute. You read the paper to see who died, and then when you
No,
find
No,
out
no,
who died,
no,
you
no.
go,
They said, I look at the birthdays. The birthdays
Oh, the
for today.
birthdays.
Yeah, the birthdays for today. And then I go, wow, so-and-so 92. Good on you.
So it must be different in the paper than on the websites, because the websites, they list like people like Ty Cobb. Like,
and I was
today is his birthday. He's no
Right.
longer celebrating it, but it is his birthday.
Right, the one they do in the Star is all people who are alive still.
We're still alive.
Yeah.
I was with you, Petro. I was like, Danny's so old, he has to be talking about the obituaries that he reads every day. Be like, oh, that's
No,
cute.
I don't read obituaries. That's one thing I don't do. I do read they have a thing on Sunday called Final Chapters, which is little tributes.
Which is dead people.
Which is tributes to famous people who died that week. I do read that,
Exactly.
but not just. I just don't need to see any Tom, Dick, Harry, or Carol who just dropped dead.
So then you're not old, because two people read the obits: old people and my wife, who is always looking for patients she may have treated.
Oh well,
back in the day.
admirable.
She scrolls through to see.
I saved them for a while.
Should have kept going to me.
Yeah,
No.
exactly.
So there you go. But we end on a high note, right? Danny Clinkscale's with us. He's brought to you by our friends at Easton Roofing, where integrity matters, by the way. You can see them online at eastonroofing.com. Great reviews, by the way. You'll see how happy customers are with Easton Roofing if you check out their reviews. Danny Clinkscale is with us. What happens in the second half, the next 7 games? What happens for your Chiefs, Danny?
I think the Chiefs are going to be hell on wheels. I think the Steelers might have to win them all in order to hold them off. I think they're going to be highly motivated to beat the Raiders. I think they might lose. I think they might lose at New Orleans. But I don't really see a trip up, because I think what we saw against Carolina is the fact that the Chiefs can do a whole pile of things wrong, but they've still got Patrick Mahomes and they can still win. So I'm saying 6-1 minimum, and if they win them all, no surprise for me.
How well do you think Drew Brees is playing?
I think he really needs Michael Thomas, who's back now. So no, he wasn't playing great, but I think that's it. He needs somebody he can just sort of throw the ball to, because he doesn't have the arm talent that he once did, and he was always somewhat limited in that regard. He was a accurate, super accurate thrower of the football. So with Thomas back, I think we'll see an improved Breeze. Is he in this league with the other really good ones right now? No, but that doesn't mean they don't have a good football team and can beat the Chiefs.
He has thrown, let's see, his completions, 72. Going through here, 72, 74, 76. 76 of his 211 completions have been to the running backs. The tight ends have accounted for 34.
Right, and that's, while it's what has always been somewhat his MO. What did Thomas have last year? 150 catches?
Yeah, something like that. I mean, that's his go-to guy.
Right.
And there's a lot of pitch and catch. Like, the one thing I've seen is it is super short stuff. But, I mean, you got to rally and tackle, and tackling is, in a lot of people's minds, a lost art form. And it certainly got harder this year when you didn't get to practice it. And so, throwing the ball short to Alvin Kamara is a smart play. I mean,
yes,
get him in the open field and let him do something. I think it's something that,
as he did last week.
Yeah. But I do think it also limits what your top-end capabilities are.
Oh, sure. I mean, they need the threat of Thomas to be an elite offense. Taking the top off is, getting free touchdowns. That's what I kind of call it. A long touchdown is, you don't have to work for it as hard. It's one big play. I mean, that's a bonus. Those are good.
Biggest surprise for the Chiefs?
Maybe that we have not seen any diminution in the talent of Travis Kelce, and in fact, he's better than ever.
Yeah, I think that's a good one. I like that one. Biggest disappointment?
Butker.
Yep, that's a good one.
And that's a good one to have when your extra point guy is missing occasionally, and you're a team that 1 point doesn't really kill that much. That's a good problem to have. I think getting the quarterback on the ground has also been a bit of a problem. They pressured fairly well, but they haven't sacked the quarterback.
I'm
very
with
often.
you. That's been a little bit of a disappointment. I would have thought, healthy sack nation was going to be a little bit more hellacious. And, they've had to bring the blitz a little more than I would have thought.
Agreed. You got two $20 million defensive linemen. You would think that you don't have to blitz as much as that. I mean, they just said last week, Teddy Bridgewater, we just don't think you can beat us if we blitzed you. And they were coming on every play at the end. And, you really shouldn't have to do that. That was dicey. I mean, if Bridgewater screwed that up, the Chiefs kind of should have lost the game. I mean,
I would disagree with that.
I think decent quarterback execution gets you a field goal.
I think decent kicking, you're up 7. You're up 6 at least. You're up 6 because he left 4 points off the board. Patrick Mahomes doesn't miss Tyreek Hill on the first drive. That's 4 more points.
Oh, sure. I'm not. I'm just saying at the end. At the end, Bridgewater screwed the pooch. I mean,
on which game? On which play?
They're tossing the ball for 5 yards in the middle of the field. What, 3 times?
Yeah, but that's what I said.
Well, stupid.
It's not stupid. It's all he can do. It's who he is. That's what it looked like when Alex Smith would do those drives at the end. And that's what I tried to explain to people when Smith was here.
Well, I'm not
and everyone would say, Andy Reid can't manage the clock. Why does it take so damn long to get down the field? Because his quarterback can't throw it 35 yards down the field.
But he did it once. He just should have known that's the play I've got to try. Even if I throw it incomplete 4 times, that's the play we got to run.
You can't run that play if the guy won't make that throw.
Well, he did make it once, so he.
I mean, isn't Alex Smith the Patrick Mahomes under Andy Reid the obvious proving ground?
Totally agree. I'm not even saying that he was capable of it. I just said he screwed the pooch. Maybe he's completely incapable of doing that. But
hence no pooches were harmed. He just can't do it.
But he did do it once. That's my he threw the ball 20 yards down the field once. He showed he could do it. He had the mindset to at least
Yes,
try.
when they're wide open, yes, he can do it. But you know what I'm talking about. Like, they don't come wide open 20 yards down the field
I know,
every time,
but
you just choose to take the check down.
Yeah, he's got to realize. That's what I'm saying. He's got to realize that I've got to throw that pass even if it isn't going to work.
See, okay, that's fine. I hear where you're at. From that standpoint, he probably should have done it on a drive earlier and all those things. My point is this. There are times there is not it's not an escape room, okay, that there is a predetermined way to get out of this room. You just got to find it. There are times you're just outgunned. You're not going to win. You don't have the weaponry it takes to get it done. It isn't that you just missed the opportunity. Teddy Bridgewater has 9 mother-blanking touchdowns coming into this game. 9. You know what that means? And by the way, I think his wideouts are pretty good. You know what it means? He's a gutsy, smart, tough, limited quarterback.
Right, but he made dumb decisions. They had, a minute and a half? And they ended up...
he gets... So for 58 minutes or 59 minutes, he played...
Good football.
About as well as he could, and with leading a 3-5 team against the defending Super Bowl champs who came in at 7-1. He's tremendous. And then he broke wind on the sideline and his brain flew out.
Apparently. I'm looking at the evidence. Did they run 5 plays? Is that all they ran?
To quote Dwayne Thomas, evidently.
You look at the drive chart. I think they ran 5 plays in a minute and a half, with passing the ball. I mean, it's just stupid. Now, I will give I will give some credit to the.
So
team.
then, is Alex Smith stupid in 2-minute drives?
The Patriots won, for instance. Yes, you got to realize the game situation. Yes, you're averse to making mistakes. Job one there was to get a score, for instance, in that Patriots drive. But this was do
and
or
he
die,
got the score,
and he did.
And he got the score.
Yeah, but it took 7 minutes or a lot.
All right,
a lot. And Bridgewater didn't even have to score a touchdown. He needed about 30 yards.
Listen, I'm not telling you that they were the great success story. I'm just telling you why It looked like that. That's what it always looks like with those quarterbacks that aren't Russell Wilson, Patrick Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers.
I think
Dak Prescott before he went down, 500 yards on the day. Now it's money time, and he can't get it in the end zone. He's the same guy.
I think he would have gotten a field goal.
I'm not convinced. Because defenses play based upon what you have to get, right? And if you got to get 7, you're almost guaranteed to get to the defense's 30. All right, and then they go, all right, here we go. We burn as much time as we can on this. Now let's stop them. And sometimes there are defensive coaches that lose their mind and do stupid things.
Right. So in this case, all he had to do was get to the 30, and they win.
But I said if you need to give up a touchdown, you can almost guarantee that they're going to get to the 30. But if a field goal beats you, then they bring the real defense from the get-go. I'm telling you. When they got the ball, I was sitting there. We'd sit outside and watch the game, me and my friends, and my buddies are like, I don't know. I said, he's not going to do it. I've seen this movie. This is Alex Smith. He's going to do just enough to tease you, right? He's going to get in range of a Hail Mary. If they lose, they'll lose on a Hail Mary. They basically did a Hail Mary field goal.
Yeah, they went from their 9 to the Chiefs' 49, 8 plays in a minute 26.
I mean, you know how it's going to end. Daniel Jones, late. He's got a chance. He's not going to get it done.
I didn't feel like he was necessarily going to do it. It's just the way they went about effing it up that was crazy. Guys running, you don't take a 5-yard gain. You don't.
But those guys do. Because that's all they can do.
You know what? And if you're the back or the wide receiver, you know what you do? You drop the football. That's what you do. No, I'm dead serious. Oh, this ain't going anywhere. I'm dropping it. Boom.
I'm with you, but they're playing that position because that thought's never going to enter their head.
Well, it ought to.
I mean, it comes back to get a better quarterback. Matt Rule did everything he could.
Oh,
with
he
the
did.
He
coached a great game, no question.
Yeah,
Really,
he did everything he could. And I frankly think Teddy Bridgewater is doing everything he can with what he's got. Being what he brings to the table, not necessarily his weapons around him. Patrick Mahomes would make those guys look better. Patrick Mahomes would have beat the Chiefs.
No question. Yeah, but I'm not even asking for that. I'm just asking for not dumb. I didn't say he necessarily could do it. But, you just don't throw a 5-yard check down then. You don't.
Okay.
Throw it out of bounds. I don't care.
I hear where you're
better,
coming from.
He's better off spiking the football than throwing that.
Their chances of big plays is getting the ball in somebody's hands and then they run after catch.
Yeah, well, goody gumdrops.
We'll take a break. Danny Cleekskill's brought to you by our friends at Easton Roofing. You can find them online at eastonroofing.com. Yes. Danny.
More of Danny's Reasonably Irreverent podcast after this.
We're here with Joe Spiker, the CEO and president of Easton Roofing. What's the difference at this time of year as we head toward the warmer months for homeowners, and what should they be looking at, coronavirus or not?
If you didn't do a good job of home maintenance in the fall, cleaning your gutters out, when we get the spring rains, that can be a real problem. So you want to make sure that you've done a good job on your home maintenance, cleaning your gutters out. We can help with that. I always tell people they never get their roof inspected. They get their furnace inspected once a year, but they never get their roof inspected. And we do the inspection on your roof for free. So you call, you make an appointment, we'll show up, do the inspection. It's free. You should have your roof looked at once a year. Take advantage of us. And most likely you're fine. And if there's a problem, hopefully we can get out in front of it and save you money in the end.
So for any needs that people have right now, what's the best way to get in touch with you?
Well, you can always call us, 913-257-5426. But the best way is to go to eastonroofing.com, put your information in, and we'll give you a call.
Easton Roofing. Integrity matters.
You're listening to the program on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Danny Unleashed. Danny Clinkscale from DannyClinkscale.com is with us. He's brought to you by Easton Roofing. Joe Spiker and his team are the best. Give him a call right now, 913-257-5426. Residential and commercial roofing projects. No matter how big, they have you covered. Manager on site, happy to do repairs. 4 straight years voted Best of Houses winner. Angie's List Super Service Award winner. You can reach him at 913-257-5426 online at EastonRoofing.com. Danny, who wins the Masters? What do you think is going to happen in this tournament?
Well, I'm not going to be surprised. You can't say that about any golfer, that you're going to be surprised if they don't win. But Dustin Johnson, it's his to lose. That doesn't, put a gigantic smile on my face. I don't really dislike Dustin Johnson in any way, but I'm not a fan. But I mean, he's playing great. The only thing is, he just has not closed out many majors. He has played in 32 majors. He has finished in the top 10 18 times, including second, 5, and he has won 1. I mean, there may be no more underachieving stat in all of sports right now than 1 major for Dustin Johnson. I mean, the guy's.
Does that make him the Teddy Bridgewater? Is he dumb?
No, well, he is dumb, but that's a different discussion. No, he's a great player. That's the point. He should have won more. He absolutely should have 5 or so. I mean, he's every bit as talented as Rory McIlroy. He just hasn't been able to quite get over the finish line. So I think he will this weekend. But his track record gives you some pause. In 1990 and 19 and 20, finished runner-up 3 times in majors. So he could do it again, I guess.
Yeah, it could happen. It could happen. Danny, you're the man. Thanks for giving us some laughs.
All right. My pleasure.
DannyClinkscale.com. That's where you can find Danny's great work.
This podcast was made possible by our great sponsors like Easton Roofing, the presenting sponsor of Kansas City Profiles at the Danny Clinkscale Reasonably Irreverent podcast. Easton Roofing, where integrity matters. We hope you enjoyed the latest Danny Clinkscale Reasonably Irreverent podcast. Come back soon for something fresh and new.